recording and do it.
Yeah, Dennis just got in. Give me 1 second. Asked to unmute and pin
There we
link.
go.
Yeah,
Not letting me do video yet. So
yeah,
yeah, let me turn on.
Mhm.
It says host stop video.
Let me see. Why is it doing that? Because there we go. Allow record. Nope. It says that you can do your video. Why? Oh, why? Yeah, you should be good. You're the co-host.
Yeah, I'm gonna let me mute everybody. I just need to mute everybody. No. Okay, I think we should be good. Go. Has to mute. Has to video. Then I think we lost them. So we'll probably stop. Video, okay.
Yeah, Dennis should be coming back in. But
Alrighty.
There he is.
All right. Greetings from LA with my mom. We're on our way back to dinner.
Okay. You're out in that neck of the woods too, Alfredo and Harry too. So they're all out in the California area.
Awesome. Dennis, how are you, man?
Good, my man.
Awesome, man.
Great.
I appreciate.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I appreciate you being on here. I had a little family emergency, so I think we're both in the car right now. I stepped out here to host this for the team, and yeah, everybody's excited to see you on here. Get to learn. As you already know, the goal here of the GMB Pros is to help either grow the agency or help the people that are here to help their clients go and get results. And I love the when we talked about the topic, it's like, hey man, we need to up level our guys, our team, our family, our group, and that knowledge panel, which I thought it was excellent. So I was super excited to see something different, to see something that the team can literally take and do tonight and start working on it, so we can dominate, right? We can the Waynes, the Isaiahs, the Seans, the Als, the Ash, like if somebody types in your name, you have that knowledge panel. So it's awesome. Guys, Dennis is, if you haven't seen him, you will see him out there. He's, I love, his spirit that he brings to our community of giving, of, participating. It's awesome. So Dennis, if you can kind of give us the layout of the land, how you got to this point, give us a little summary of your journey and introduce yourself a little bit for those that don't know who the man, the legend is.
Too kind, Alfredo. I was a search engine engineer. I was one of the very first ones before there was Google. So I built the analytics at Yahoo, for those of you guys who are old enough to remember. And my job was to protect the search results against people like William Jones, who are trying to get their clients into the search results. So my view on SEO is probably very different than what most people are that you talk to.
No. I tell people, I say, honestly, if you want to know the number one person I would probably tell you to go follow when it comes to SEO, would probably be Dennis. Because if you go on his social profile, I met him at Social Media Day in Jacksonville, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago, some crazy, like
Yeah.
8, 9 years ago. And but if you go look at his profile, everybody thinks he's just a digital marketer, but he drops a lot of information that most people would not even begin to think of SEO as, whereas in creating content and everything else that he talks about. And I was actually on a phone call, I believe it was yesterday, and I mentioned a little bit from your content factory. So I kind of want you to delve on that too with why,
Yeah.
for example, why do I say create books and why do I say go on podcasts and why do I say YouTube and stuff is all because of things I learned from dentists. It has nothing to do with something I came up with. So go follow his profile if you're not. He's not your typical SEO guy, but he drops a lot of really good SEO knowledge that most people don't drop. And he also calls out a lot of the SEO, if you will, typical SEO garbage you see out there too. So, and I like that both about him. So, but I'm excited to have him on here.
I appreciate you, William. Thanks
Yes,
for having
sir.
me. I want to show you guys kind of a different view, sort of like an OG fundamental view of SEO that most people don't see. And as William talked about, let me share my screen here. The idea of the content factory is that when you Google, like me, for example, you're going to see all these little things pop up, right? So this is called a knowledge panel. It's kind of the upside down L. It's these colored boxes. It's this stuff here, people also look for these people here. Files. You guys already know Google wants a mix of all kinds of things, including generative AI, where they show kind of a singular, I'm feeling lucky kind of answer, right? So if you think about it from Google's standpoint, when you search on whatever, Google wants to show a comprehensive answer that is actually factually verified. So those things have to tie back to objects in the knowledge graph. So the fact that it's listing me as an author or internet personality or a small business owner, or that I've spent $1 billion on Google or Facebook ads, or that we had certain folks as clients, or that I wrote a book, or all the things like William talked about. I was on a podcast with so-and-so. All of that is factually verified, and it can be seen when you ask Bard or Gemini. It can be seen when you ask ChatGPT, right? So I can go to ChatGPT and say, who is Dennis Yu? Or whatever. And you can do that for your own name too. And it's a little tougher if you're William Jones. It's like John Smith. But you'll see that the answer is corroborated. So I spent 3 days with Google engineers a couple of weeks ago, Gary Ilyas and all these other folks, the search quality guys. And I said, what does things like schema have to do with knowledge panel and the whole content factory method, which I'm going to show you? What does that have to do? Like, does that impact SEO? I thought you said that social media doesn't impact SEO. I thought you said running ads doesn't impact SEO, right? Isn't that what most people believe? And I got them to agree that yes, it does. It doesn't directly, just because you run ads on Google doesn't directly impact your SEO, but if it drives traffic, and you saw in the DOJ testimony that came out a couple weeks ago that Google admitted, they had to admit how their algorithms work, that things like RankBrain and the way they use click data does impact search results. So when we do this, we take all this content that we have, either for our agencies or for our clients, all this raw content, videos, testimonials, reviews, pictures, all these sorts of, raw kinds of real content, process it and push it to our GMBs and Facebook, YouTube, turn it into a book, all different, the whole Mexican food analogy, right? Beans, cheese, rice, beef. It can be turned into a taco, burrito, tostada, enchilada, chalupa, you know what I'm saying? So you're taking those same raw ingredients, processing or even not processing, publishing it to these other places. And then Google said, this is what I took away from spending a few days. I had to sign the NDA and all that because it's all like a big secret, whatever. But they said that Google is triangulating and corroborating between all these different sources to make sure that what you have is factually true. So when someone types in, Portland Pest Control Company or whatever, then if there's if the information is triangulated and corroborated across multiple sources that are high authority, relevant sources to that particular topic, then Google's going to show your stuff as a knowledge panel, because those objects in the knowledge graph are tied together. Now, you guys understand that. Most people that do SEO, most business owners don't understand that. But when you think about all these objects in the knowledge graph, if you need to have corroborated out, not or information about about who I am, which then I to knowledge that I
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I lost him. He'll be back.
Okay.
But essentially, I met him back probably 8 years ago. So, at a
Wow.
social media day in Jacksonville. And if you look at his content factory, what he's talking about is the same thing, kind of like what we do is with the content. You do the content, the podcast, the YouTube, etc., and you repurpose it.
Mm.
And Sean says just met him recently in Tampa. I remember when I met him, for instance, he also has this method he calls the 1 minute video method, in which he does a 1 minute video and he teaches his clients and everybody do the same thing. And then you do Facebook ads towards that 1 minute video. And most people say it's a waste of time. But in reality is what it does is it pushes traffic, and you can also find out what content does your audience like. And it's really, I mean, everything he teaches is brilliant. So, but he'll be back in a second. So,
yeah.
There he is.
yep, he's coming back. Hmm. So Sean says, I just
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're breaking in and out, but we can hear you now.
All right. So apologize for the poor connection. I'm probably like consistent corroborated signal from trustworthy sources so that we can trigger knowledge panels every time. Be, a local panel for a local business, it can be for a person, it can be for a business, it can be for any kind of object in the knowledge graph, right? Now I want to show you a few different examples of this and how you can do this. And then I have to know some sites that have a lot of authority. So I'll show you how I do that, and blog or what may do that as well. Okay. You guys see my screen?
No.
Not
You
yet.
guys see my screen? Not yet. Okay.
Uh,
Almost back.
it's coming up now. Almost.
Okay. Okay.
It says, didn't you just started sharing his screen, but that's the only thing I see. So it's a black screen. Mhm.
Yeah. Right.
Yep, he disappeared again, guys. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead. Let's see here. Hopefully he'll get back in here with a better connection, but he just dropped out again, Alfredo.
Okay.
But essentially, if you looked at even just the screen share that you were seeing, the whole purpose of what is creating the content is what we talked about, what I actually talked about to a client was one of the things he talks about. The very first thing you got to do is who's your ideal client? Once you know your ideal client, who are the movers and shakers in that industry? It's like whenever I first started doing YouTube, I did the same thing. Who's the movers and shakers in SEO? I started interviewing them. I aligned myself with them. And then from there, you get put into other positions, you get speaking engagements, podcasts, and then you repurpose that content. And he talks about that in something he has called the Content Factory. And I met him back in Jacksonville, and this is where Dennis had told me, for example, about Philippine virtual assistants. I knew nothing about anything to do with virtual assistants till he mentioned it. And then how he trained virtual assistants. He mentioned that at Social Media Day in Jacksonville many years ago, probably 8 years ago now. And that's when I first went there. It was just basically about social media and WordPress because I was just doing freelance WordPress web design, So it's interesting though how things all come together. So he's almost at his house, I believe. He's at his house, and once he gets at his house, he'll be at his desk and he'll have good connection. Yeah, ask to unmute. Then once he gets there, but yeah, so that's how I met him. And I remember he literally had people. That's one of the other reasons I love him is when he was speaking, he was teaching the 1 minute video method, and I know he'll probably talk about that. And he literally had people come up with him and do a 1 minute video recording on their phone right there on the spot, and then he taught them, this is what you do with it. So all those different things. So. But yeah, just talking a little bit about you, Dennis, and how I met you and what I learned from you when I first met you and stuff. So
Good things, William. All right. Well, I'm back at home. Hopefully no more internet problems. My goodness.
it's all right, man.
Okay. Thanks for being patient. This will be fun. Okay. Back to share screen. So you can see this is my knowledge panel. And the key thing here that ties together my knowledge panel is that I have a personal brand website. This is separate from the agency site because me as a person is a separate entity than a company, right? And a lot of people make the mistake of putting their personal brand on companysite.com/about, which should be about the company, not about that person. Because you might have ownership in multiple companies, be on a nonprofit board, be a dad, a soccer coach. There's all these different things that are associated with who you are that's different from who the company is. And a lot of people that you work with, a lot of the clients, they are probably figureheads as well in their own cities. And how cool is it if when you can show the client, not only you're driving leads and phone calls and all this kind of stuff, but they also rank as well. So tomorrow I'm flying to Dallas and I'm going to be with my buddy Roger Wakefield. And this is Roger. And you can see, for some reason, his knowledge panel's categorized as a book character. But he is, that's because there's another Roger Wakefield there. But this guy's a plumber. And he just sold his plumbing company for $45 million. He's been a plumber for 30 years. And he's such a successful plumber that he's the best known plumber among all the other plumbers. So all the plumbers follow this guy here. And he's got videos with millions of views and this kind of thing, right? So let me tell you why we're doing this and how I think it could apply to what all the work you guys are doing with your different local kinds of clients. So this guy, because he's so well known as a plumber, and you type into Google, how do you fix a toilet or whatever it is, like his videos pop up, right? Well, clearly this guy has the signal and the trust of Google with all these things related to being a plumber. And because he's known by the plumbers, because Google's clearly said, hey, anything to do with plumbing, it is him. I know that co-creating content with someone that is trusted by Google around how do you do stuff for plumbers? You know, how do you rank in the maps, and are you Googleable, and how do you optimize your GMB? By creating this content together with Roger, who is a client, and other plumbing companies we have a bunch of plumbers that are clients, that I know is basically whitelisted with Google. So us producing this kind of training drives more plumbers in because we have lots of examples of what we do for plumbers. And so then we have an agency under this guy, Roger Wakefield. Why would we put it under Dennis Yu? Who the hell is Dennis Yu, right? But if you're a plumber and you know who, well, you're going to know who Roger Wakefield is if you're a plumber, right? You ask any plumber, do you know who Roger Wakefield is? Oh, yeah, that's the guy. So I would encourage you, if you can build under a lighthouse. So take one of your top clients, you know, maybe you got a bunch of chiropractors and one of them's a well-known chiropractor that all the other chiropractors know. Wouldn't you agree that carries a lot more weight than someone like me or William or whatever? We could be really good at whatever it is, but these local service businesses don't trust their lighthouse, someone who's one of them, more than you. You know what I'm saying? And co-creating content is, I believe, the most honest, fastest, least spammiest, most authoritative way, AI proof, whatever way of doing business. So you don't have to do all the cold calling or outreach or whatever is the other stuff people are doing. And it sends the right signal, because when we have these relationships with people that we want to be known for. So if I want to be known for entrepreneurship and I have all this stuff with Ryan Dice or whoever it is, I don't see how in any universe that can hurt me with whatever Google algorithmic update changes that may happen. And I ran this by different friends at Google. I mean, I had Darren Shaw on my podcast last week, and I asked him about it. And I always run stuff we do by these other folks just to make sure. And they say, yeah, it's totally fine. Probably shouldn't tell anybody that you're doing this, because then they might want to copy you. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not worried about people copying. Right. So here's someone who is, let's just say, not doing PR the right way. And I also gave him some clients for $40,000 a month, whatever. He didn't do a good job. So he did his brother. I mean, this Gavin guy's a good guy, but his brother's not so much of a good guy. And he's trying to show how you can be famous and all that. I said, okay, well, watch this. I wrote an article. Gavin Leary and Grant Leary boast how they run a fake PR agency, right? And I go through all the different, see, William told you I'll do things like this, right? I do it for fun. I love exposing idiots. So I go through all the things on, here's how you get yourself in the Forbes. Here's how you get on Inc. and Entrepreneur. Here's how you buy all these fake press releases. Here's how you pretend to do these different things. And I expose all the techniques. Like, here's a list. How much money do you need to spend to get something onto such and such website? You guys have seen this before, right? You guys know how this works, right? You can buy all sorts of stuff. I make a video walking through how this fakery works. And I show how, well, now you can buy the blue check mark on Instagram, but before you had to kind of earn it, if you know, and you do it through the fake artist method, right? Pretend that you're an artist. There's all these different things. So I go on and on and on about all the ways that you can fake out people in the world of internet marketing and SEO. And then what do? I link to this article. I run this article for $1 a day. I target him and other people to get a 10% plus CTR, because that's how I know whether my stuff is relevant or not. And thus, when you search his name, my stuff shows up. And the first image that shows up is me when you search for this guy. Isn't that funny? He is a knowledge panel, and everything's moving to knowledge panels. So you know the whole thing with SGE, right? Search Generative Experience. Those are just dynamic knowledge panels. Even Jason Barnard and all them agree. Anton Schulke agrees. Those are just dynamic knowledge panels. Everything's knowledge panels. I mean, you see some now, but everything's going to be a knowledge panel. It's coming up, right? I mean, there's other people. I won't go too far on this, because then you'll think that all I do is just make fun of scammers. But there's this guy, Aaron Gabitas, and he scammed a couple friends of mine. He had to change his agency name to Video Pro, because I ranked #1 on his agency name. But you can see, like, here's videos. This guy shares more truth about Aaron Gabitas. Here's other stuff on Aaron Gabitas. Aaron Gabitas of Go Be Rewarded. Think twice before hiring him, right? And this goes on and on. Aaron Gabitas is, scamming other people. So not like it's a difficult keyword to rank on, 10 people are searching a month and there's keyword difficulties basically 0, right? But I think in the world of SEO, local SEO, which is what all of us play in, it's so easy to win. I mean, unless it's like New York personal injury attorney or something like that. But it's so easy to win because all you need is a decent piece of content that ideally starts in a video format. You link to it from a couple places, ideally like a good website that's relevant, and then you run $1 a day against it. So I'll take a piece of content on Twitter, for example, and I'll go to Twitter ads and I'll do like, here's a webinar we're doing with Duda. Duda's an agency. We're doing a whatever thing on SEO with them in a few weeks, or like, here's one. This is one with this is what we're doing in financial services. So again, I have a lighthouse like Roger Wakefield. So the lighthouse here is Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is super well known as a life insurance guy, right? Because he's shiny, keynote speaker, lots of articles, best-selling book. And then what I do, because he's the best known guy in this industry, and if you sell life insurance, you're probably a member of NAFA, which is the largest, oldest organization, National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. So I just targeted all the members of NAFA, because if you target NAFA, and then I'll show you Elevated Advisor. If you're a member of NAFA, oh shoot, let me go over here. Why is here it is. If you're a member of NAFA, you're going to know who this guy is because you've seen him all over the place. So then when we run a Twitter ad for $1 a day and I'm targeting members of NAFA, the kind of performance I'm going to get, look, let's go to, let me close this thing here. By the way, this works on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, like whatever, okay? I'm getting an 18% link click rate. Have you guys seen that before? 18%, not click-through rate, link click rate of 18%. How is that possible? It's basically 20%, 1 in 5. How is it that 1 in 5 people are doing this? And then I've basically dominated this whole industry. 2 cents a click, people come to the landing page, they put in their email address, like a quarter of the people who come there will then put in their email address, and then the whole email thing kicks in. But how am I able to get these link clicks for 2 cents? Now, this has been running for a couple of years now, because I've been spending $1 a day and I've spent $459. So I've been going for 459 days. How am I getting an 18% link click rate? Come on, pop quiz time. If you know this, if you don't know this, then all the stuff I'm talking about won't make any sense. How is that possible? Sean, you're like wondering what's going on. Why is that?
Just put it in the chat box if you want to, or if you want to raise your hand, I'll let you guys talk to them. So
yeah, or William, you can answer it too. This is your thing, your group.
Association.
Yeah, the association is super high. The relevancy super high. Of course, when I'm targeting people who are members of this association, of course they're going to recognize this guy. So then they come to the landing page, right? Because they see a video of Caleb saying, hey, are you a financial service advisor? Are you a member of NAFA? Well, of course you are, because I'm targeting you as a member of NAFA, right? This big association of life insurance people. And it comes to this thing, and then it shows his face again, and then it shows him and I talking. So if you're you're an agency owner, interview your top guy, make some content together with them, and then you have stuff like this.
Hey guys, welcome to the 1 minute video masterclass. And this is very, very special for me because Dennis Yu is one of the people that really helped me out early on and was one of the first people that taught me the whole marketing space. And we would speak on a lot of stages together, and he would talk about the power of a 1 minute video. And what's interesting is a lot of people just wouldn't do it. Like that's his biggest thing is he's like, Caleb.
And then he talks about $1 a day, and this is how you promote, and this is how he grew his agency. And
all right, welcome to the $1 a day masterclass by Dennis Yu. And again, I'm a big fan of Dennis and grateful for his friendship.
So what you do is you co-create content with the lighthouse, meaning a well-known figurehead in that industry. So all the other people who follow that person, who trust that person, is going to want to sign up, put in their email address, get the training and all that kind of stuff, right? Because these financial service advisors, they don't know who I am. I don't know anything about selling life insurance. What do I know about life insurance, right? But this guy is a very successful life insurance selling person. And so all these other people respect him. And then we create content together. I put it out there on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I target this guy, or I target the association that he's well known within. I get a super high link click rate. Here's the other double bonus on SEO. Even though I'm using ads to drive people here, because the relevancy is super high, because I'm targeting people who are life insurance people, who are members of this organization, how well do you think that landing page performs? Pretty well, right? Because the relevancy is so high, that's actually what's helping me with SEO. Because we know now, based on that DOJ testimony, that Google uses click data increasingly to determine what is good or not. So it's not that I'm doing CTR and I'm having like these bots like click on, or Filipinos click on stuff. I have real people who are actually relevant, actually engaging on my content, actually engaging in the search results, engaging on Twitter, engaging in the ads. And when I do searches for knowledge panels or whatever, guess what? Twitter's always showing up in here too, right? So the way I'm getting SEO is it's almost like a back door, because I'm using really high quality traffic that I've targeted to come to my website so Google can see it. And yes, the engagement rate on the website affects my SEO, right? Though partly the way I trigger knowledge panels, like the way I get a knowledge panel here is that there's other people that are named Dennis Yu, use like a super common name, right? There's like a Hong Kong film director, there's other IT people in Silicon Valley, but because there's more traffic under my Dennis Yu than the other Dennis Yus, that causes Google to say, well, it's most likely going to be this Dennis Yu, so we'll just go ahead and show his knowledge panel there. You see that? And so then this works for my buddy Caleb, like I was just showing you. So then you can see when that little icon thumbnail thing shows up, that means there's a knowledge panel. There's an object in the knowledge graph, right? And then you see his whole knowledge panel. So a few years ago, he had none of this. A few years ago, he was a nobody. But then I told him, you need to interview all the top people in your industry, because all these people that sell life insurance and death and accidental whatever, and mutual funds, all these financial service, but they all look the same, all these salespeople, they look the same. So why don't you stand out by creating a YouTube channel? So now he's interviewed all the top people in the industry. He started his own conference. He published a best-selling book, and now he's got a full knowledge panel, and it's been growing his business. Arguably, you could say his SEO works really well because he ranks on, infinite banking and overfunded life insurance, whole life insurance. He ranks on the keywords that you would want to rank on, right? And like the guy who, let's see if I can remember the name. I'll show you. Prosperity Thinkers is one of the clients introduced to me from Caleb. But if you look at their top keywords, they're all ranking on things related to, when you make a lot of money, Dave Ramsey, how to make money on life insurance, what to do with the large sum of money. Well, gee, if you're ranking, or number one, making money with life insurance, how to make money on life insurance. And if we're ranking at the top on this is going to be a super high quality client for this client of ours, right? Because they just made money through inheritance or the lottery, or they sold their business or whatever, and they want to know where to put the money and not pay a ton of taxes. Oh, well, you can put it in life insurance, right? So this is what is the best thing to do with a lump sum of money? How many life insurance or financial services people do you think would love to rank number one on that, right? And how are we doing this here? Because this website, Prosperity Thinkers, the blogs and whatnot, it's only a DR39. It ranks on whatever, 10,000 keywords. It's because we've co-created content with other people that are experts. So, Kim and Caleb and all these other folks are, because tying the top building website. Oh, what was that? Was that me? So if I look, I'll go back to Caleb. I love to experiment off of people. But look,
look at all these videos he has. It's insane. Like we can, and these are videos, notice, these aren't even on his channel necessarily. This is his channel, Better Wealth. But then there's all these other people. So he's on all these other people's channels. And then this is something that most people don't do. Like they understand, okay, yeah, start a podcast, turn it into a book. But what we do is we take any of these podcast episodes and then we run it through Descript, which is this thing here. It's sort of like an all-in-one Swiss Army knife of video, just to get the transcript and edit the video very quickly. We have thousands of videos that are in here. You can see all these ones that are in here, right? Here's a funeral home. Here's the lady who runs the funeral home interviewing other people. Here's, info webinar. Here, like we have just so many of these, right? And then we take that transcript and we run it in the ChatGPT and we say, hey, this is the transcript of an interview between so-and-so and so-and-so. Please turn it into an article. I'm trying to rank on such and such keyword. And then they write this ChatGPT writes the article. I embed the YouTube video, which is kind of like Google stacking. I make sure I have the right, tags and choose the right categories. I use Link Whisper to link between different pages that I have so I can make sure it's relevant, not because of SEO reasons, but because it actually is helpful to the user. And that's how I rank on some super, super competitive terms. It's not because I'm doing SEO. I'm not doing SEO, if you know what I mean. What I'm doing is the content factory, which William alluded to. I've got a ton of content, real video. I love to start with Zoom calls and, this is a Zoom call. This is fertile ground where we can pull out little snippets by different topics, process it in Descript and whatnot, publish it to my GMB, Facebook, YouTube, wherever, and then run $1 a day against it, the last step, because I want to drive real traffic. I'm looking for what gets at least a 10% engagement rate because it's a sign I have high relevancy, which means the amount of time people spend on my content, the engagement rate, all of those factors are going to be high if my $1 a day ads hit at least 10%. And when they do, it helps me in my organic rankings if I follow this 4-step process. Now, to be fair, Google has told us that if you use ChatGPT just to write a whole bunch of content, you can mostly get away with it because they're not really policing you on it yet. They will, but right now they're not. They said they will. But they also did say they can spot ChatGPT and they can spot these different things, right? But they're waiting to, for different reasons. Google's slow on policing these things. But I'm ahead of this. I want to be ahead of this because I want to start with real stories, the whole EEAT, the first E. I'm starting with real stories of what these folks are doing and what I'm doing so that when I eventually use Descript and ChatGPT to turn it into articles and whatnot, it's based on real experiences. And so I sprinkle in pictures, I sprinkle in bits of the video, I sprinkle in actual examples. So there's no way someone could ever claim, oh, Dennis is just using ChatGPT to write 1,000 articles on whatever thing he's trying to rank on. You know what I mean? So I've systematized it to where I use Google Photos as my AI. So wherever I am, I could be in whatever city. Like I took pictures of my vitamins because some people ask me, like, how are you almost 50 and you're dunking at the trampoline park and don't get tired? But William, name any city in the world.
Orlando.
Orlando. Now, when I'm in Orlando, am I tagging all my photos as Orlando? Look, here's an Orlando boarding pass on Southwest Airlines. This is with another friend of mine in Orlando. We are having food in Orlando. Let's see what's going on over here. So it's here at Lake Nona Medical City in Orlando, right? And you can see that it's with Jorge Cruz and his wife on January 30th, 2022, iPhone 13. And this is at a restaurant in Orlando. And here's all these other things in Orlando. You may recognize the Orlando airport. What's this in Orlando? No, I don't think that's Orlando. That's the Wynn. Why does it say Orlando? Maybe one of these shirts says Orlando or there's Orlando here somewhere. But the AI, Google's AI is already categorizing stuff as Orlando. So William, name an activity or name a thing or name a food, or name something.
Arabic. Arabic.
Arab, Arabic. Okay. Well, I was just in Pakistan 2 weeks ago, so I wonder if there's some Arabic here. Yeah, this is a couple weeks ago. Arabic's a little, that's not quite a noun. Well, I mean, this is an Arabic, isn't it?
Yep.
I guess that's Arabic. Okay. So name some other object or some anything
Hmm.
activity.
Mexican.
Mexican. So they might think what, Mexican food or Mexican origin or Mexican flag or Mexican, all sorts of Mexican this and Mexico. I've been to Mexico many times, so maybe it'll show Mexico. I'll probably show Mexican food. Does this look like Mexican food? Looks like it. Is this a oh, this is a dog in Mexico. I was in, yeah, Nogales in Mexico. So I guess that qualifies as Mexican, a Mexican dog. So what I'm doing is I'm feeding Google's own AI categorization back into it. So if I'm writing an article about dogs, I'm going to pull all the things related to dogs, what Google thinks is dogs, because I'm counting on it being the same AI, right? So I can rank on anything I want and make it even stronger and foolproof because I'm using Google's own AI to categorize dogs, right? And this is a dog in Arizona, Flagstaff, Arizona, right? So I'm going to show you one thing, and it's what a couple of my friends who are very senior said not to tell anybody about. But I'm going to tell you, and let's see what you guys think, okay? So I have, is that cool? We'll just keep it here, okay? Kind of a little agreement. All right. So I have a lot of these lighthouse people, and the lighthouse is the top person in the industry. So in this case, real estate, the top person in real estate's Tom Ferry. So used to be called for those. And then we have all this content, and this content gets repurposed into blog posts and Facebooks and YouTubes and all this kind of stuff, right? And the key is not that I made content with the lighthouse. The key is that it's actually really, really good content. You can see these people are saying it's really, really, really good, right? We're actually teaching something worthwhile. And you can tell based on the engagement and all that. This is not just like use ChatGPT to create content. And no, it actually has to be helpful, helpful content, that whole thing. So I've created content with these different lighthouses. And because they're a lighthouse, they have tens of thousands of other people in that same industry that follow them. Tens of thousands of plumbers that follow Roger Wakefield, tens of thousands of dentists that follow Glenbow, and so forth, because I've been very lucky to have the relationships with the top person in each industry. And what I've started to do, so don't cancel me, I'm going to tell you, is I've created I don't know what the name of it should be, but I call it this geo category grid network. So imagine across the top, you have all the different local categories: roofing, chiropractor, veterinarian, real estate, more, you know what I'm saying? Like all the different categories, ideally LSA categories, but any kind of GMB category, right? Across the top. And then I think Sean knows where I'm going with this. And then we have all the different regions: Los Angeles, Seattle, Salt Lake City, all these different. So we have this whole grid, right? So I can take any one of my clients and, for example, my guy who's a Portland pest control company, right? And you look at the keywords he ranks on. Of course, he's dominating in Portland and pest control and ants and squirrels and all these sorts of things. Portland times mice, spiders, you can imagine, right? Exterminator, right? Not bad, right? So this guy here, because he's a Portland pest control guy, his SEO relevancy has to tie with either Portland or pest control, which means any business or any organization or anything in Portland related to Portland, the trees in Portland, the rose garden, his favorite coffee place in Portland, right? Other websites in Portland, the soccer team, he goes Portland, right? Or pest control. Well, we know all the top people in pest control. And when he writes an article on what are the 10 most dangerous spiders. That can be linked to from all the other pest control people. And then when another one of our pest control clients has written about, you know, what are 3 things that are, how can you tell the difference between a raccoon versus what's the other one that the insurance won't pay for? I forgot. Anyway, the possum, raccoon versus a possum. And he's got a whole article that we can all, I don't want to say PBN. I don't want to use link exchange. I don't want to use those words that sound like the things that will get us in trouble, okay? But I talked to my friends at Google, and I talked to some other friends, and I said, we map out this geovertical category network. You're whatever category you're in times, and then whatever city you're in creates an X, right? Because there's the category you're in times the city, it creates an X, and then you sit at the intersection of that X because you are in pest control and you're in Portland, right? Or you're San Diego and you're a chiropractor, or you are in Salt Lake City and you're a veterinarian. So because of the horizontal and the vertical X that you create, it's very relevant from an SEO standpoint. Anyone who is also in that category, anywhere in the nation, we can do a little SEO with guest blogging, interview each other on podcasts, 1-minute videos, this kind of thing. Or anyone in that city, but is just not a pest control person, right? I mean, obviously, like you're willing to network with anybody except for someone who is also a Portland pest control company, right? So we have assembled this network of tens of thousands of businesses that believe this is a good thing because they trust that I'm not going to lead them astray. And so we've been guest blogging, if you will, with the help of ChatGPT and our VAs and, pulling off of our Google Photos and we, put it to the drive and share all this kind of stuff. And it's working. We've done it very lightweight. We're not doing anything that could ever be categorized as like a link network or whatever you want to call it. And I'm looking to expand this a little bit more where all the articles are legit. We're not just like spinning up spam blogs and selling links or just letting anybody in. But I think this is a legitimate, sustainable way to do SEO among all the people that we work with. We'll see. What do you guys think about that? You think it's spammy? You think it's clever? You think it's, an old idea? Curious to see what you think about that. Because we have the lighthouses. That's the key thing that most people don't have. I have the top person in each of these industries, most of them. And they all agree. And all the other people, all the other chiropractors, all the other real estate people, all the other, plumbers follow so-and-so. I have a list of all these folks and we've created content together. And we're now publishing books. Oh, I forgot to show you one more thing. And then I'd love to hear your feedback, but I'm going to show you one more thing. So I have, see, there's our plumber. I have free ebooks. We were getting 1 million visits a month organically off of Google, just DR75. And if you look at the keywords, go ahead and type in free ebook in the Google, free ebooks. We're number 1, right? It's a pretty difficult keyword. Number 1 on all these. So you type in ebooks related to romance or what business or what, like we rank number 1 on all those too, right? So we are also taking content that we've created with the lighthouses. So, with Roger, where Roger he legitimately has got a lot of great content. And so we're just taking a lot of his YouTube videos or, YouTube videos here, and we're just turning them into ebooks. So then we can publish them on our ebook site. And the relevancy, Google respects this as an ebook site. So we're just turning all our knowledge into ebooks and putting it here, giving people author profiles, allowing them to guest blog. And this seems to be working. Why are we losing some of these links? When did this happen? That's curious. But I think it's completely legit because it's an ebook site. We're not selling links. We're actually creating real ebooks against it. We do have publishing standards. You can't just submit garbage, right? But this is allowing everyone to now become an author, which is the fastest way as of now to trigger a knowledge panel. to have an authorship, and then it ties to your website, you tie your socials together, all that kind of stuff. What do you guys think of this? You guys don't have any comments or questions? Is this like confusing or is it too obvious, or what is this? Great plan with content no one else can get. That's what I think. I want to hear
questions from anybody. Raphael, Soto, Kyle, MJ, Harry,
you guys are the SEO experts. I want some feedback.
Sean. He's been over here bobbling his head, so I know he's got his gears turning. So
Andrew says, how can you replicate that on a smaller scale? Easy. So Andrew, what vertical do you serve? Who do you serve? And Isaiah, this doesn't only work only with top dogs, but it works better. Obviously, the higher the authority, the better, right? I love working with whoever's the top in the industry, but if you don't know the top guy, I work with someone who's sort of well known. I love to publish on sites that have a lot of traffic, especially major media sites. I have authorship on a whole bunch of them, but you don't have to start with those. Like, I'm an author on Social Media Examiner and Digital Marketer and these other ones, but you don't have to. You can even be an author on my piddly little blog, DR62, It's not a big deal, right? Yeah, it works super well with lawyers. Lawyers have no idea. They have a lot of money and they don't understand any of this, and they get ripped off all day long by SEO companies. A friend of mine, Daryl Isaacs, was paying $70,000 a month to Jason Hennessy, and all he did was generate 200 fake blogs every month. $70,000 a month for SEO. Did him nothing. I proved it. You can even see it for yourself. It's not like it's a secret. Yeah. PPC affiliate. Okay. Used to work for Hennessy. Yeah, well, I can log in right now and show you what the data looks like. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, this guy was spending millions on TV and billboard and all that, so he figured he could bang him for $70,000 a month. It didn't last.
let's see. Window replacement companies, and I cannot find someone now. I have a better look into it.
So with window replacement companies, do you have relationships with the suppliers or the people that run the conference? Or if it's a franchise, the franchisor, whoever has authority, that's who you want to co-create content with. Ideally, you have a client that loves you and you can interview them on your podcast. You guys don't have any questions? That's surprising.
They're generally a quiet bunch, and then the rest of the group will come in later, about 1,500 or so people, and they'll start asking me questions. I'm gonna have to start tagging you.
Okay.
Some of the things, like I watch your stuff all the time, screenshots, everything. One of the things you said the other day, which I really liked, and maybe you can go over this with these guys, is one of the reasons why I like Dennis. He goes, strip away all the SEO witchcraft, confusing jargon, and you'll see that the only actual activities in marketing are building trusted relationships in your geo or vertical, Las Vegas plumbing. Then create content from those relationships in video format. Then post that content to social media, YouTube, websites, etc. Then run ads against that content. So what then is the SEO company doing outside of those four things? Question mark. If the answer is hreflag tags, headers and everything else, then you go on to talk about that. So
yeah,
this should be your top priority, not all that other crap. So, like I said, follow him. I've been following him for a while, so.
Thank you, William. And don't just follow me. I want to see you guys get results. So you'll see William just quoted a Facebook post that I made, a few days ago. Look, there's my mom. She's 81. Isn't she amazing? We just had lunch or dinner. So I'll make a post Like here, hey, blah, 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 dollar day, argue with Mark Zuckerberg in front of millions of people. Or, oh, wow, this is cool. I didn't even realize you posted this. But I'll make a post on social media, right? And then what we'll do is take that post and then turn it into a blog post, which is totally fine. A lot of people think like that's not okay. Or like, here's the one. I think this is the one that William was just quoting.
Correct. Here's the
Okay.
one.
Okay. So I literally, when I get on a rant or I'm like mad about something, I'll just bang out a Facebook post on my phone or whatever. I just write it out. This looks like a lot, but literally it takes me like 5 or 6 minutes because I just do one sentence paragraphs. And then this gets some amount of traffic. So, a couple thousand people will see it. But with social media, a day or two later, it's gone. It's disappeared off the feed, right? I mean, technically it's there, but basically it's gone, right? Because you know how social media is. So what we'll do is we'll take this whole thing and I'll just copy it in the WordPress and turn it to a blog post. And then I'll link between related articles I have on different sites that I control. So for example, I control Influencive, and this one, I've got a bunch of articles here, and this is, DR77. We have a few 100,000 visits a month. And then I'll link between related sorts of things. And you'll see like why I'm not an influencer, confessions of a 21-year-old, fatal mistakes agencies make, about this, that, and the other thing. A lot of these started as just a Facebook or LinkedIn post that I then turn into a blog post, which now gives me SEO power, right? And this is what William was referencing earlier, where you create any piece of content. It could be a Zoom call. It could be a Facebook code. It could be like whatever, you're meeting with a client, and then you turn that into derivative pieces of content so it can live in many different places. My favorite technique right now is to take what we know and turn it into a book. Because any video that's 40 minutes plus or so, we could actually turn it into a book and put it on our free ebook site or put it on Amazon even, right? Like I have a best-selling book on Amazon, and it was just a series of interviews of the top TikTokers, because TikTok paid me a lot of money, full disclosure. And, and we put it under Perry Marshall's name because Perry, top seller, Google ads, Facebook ads. So he said, hey, let's do one on TikTok ads. So we did. And you can see sponsored, this is an ad. So we're running $1 a day to push this. At one point, we were number one in business, and we were number one in social media, ahead of Gary Vaynerchuk and all them, because we were spending, probably $30 a day or something just to push it up to number one. Now it's back down to $1. So, it's the rankings have fallen down. But this is nothing more than a series. I don't say it's actually a solid book. People have read the book and said it's solid. But I've interviewed the top people in TikTok, and then I just recorded a bunch of looms and zooms while I was in the TikTok ad interface making ads. Like, oh, here you click on this, here I'm doing that. I'm just talking as I'm making ads inside the TikTok interface, right? So it ranks organically, and we had the number one result as well too. And at one point we were the best-selling book in social media because I was forcing it up there with, ads. So you see how this is just an example of repurposing? Repurposing meaning I take combinations of my raw content back to the Mexican food, and beans, cheese, rice, lettuce, tomatoes, beef, and I can turn it into the burrito, into the chalupa, the enchilada, the tostada, the whatever your favorite thing is, chimichanga, right? And I just love taking these raw ingredients and chopping them up and folding them up into a burrito or whatever kind of format you want. And so that's why we can publish. I can take any moment in time and I can publish it into all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people have been asking in the last year or so about knowledge panels. So I wrote this article. After all these people were asking, I said, okay, here's a step-by-step guide to get your knowledge panel. And of course, I start with mine to prove that I'm not just like ChatGPTing it. I actually am teaching from a real example. I'm 49 now. And then here it is, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes on, and it links to other articles like this. How do you rank on someone else's name? Well, here it is, step by step. How do you rank on someone else's name, right? By the domain name, have content related to them, tie everything together based on the topics that they would be known for, you know, and you run it through the 4-stage content factory. And of course, when we show the content factory, we link back to content factory. And if we want people to know about the content factory and we want it to be high authority, then we put it on Digital Marketer. So this is the Digital Marketer blog, DR81. This is the #1 place for digital marketing. They've got the big conference. TNC comes up in 2 weeks, less than that. And then this is the whole video explaining the content factory, right? So anytime I'm teaching something, I also back it up by making sure I'm putting this in the highest authority place I can. So I wouldn't want to have this explanation of the content factory on my site because I'd rather put it on Digital Marketer because Digital Marketer is best known for digital marketing. And when I have things related to social media, I'm going to put it instead of on my site, I'm going to put it on Social Media Examiner because that site is the #1 site for social media marketing. So why wouldn't I want to put it there? Right? So the thing that drives me nuts, I'm curious to see like William and Sean, what you think, Alfredo. Like, why do most of these people that do SEO think like you have to put all the content on your site only? Like I'm curious to see like what ratio you do, but I probably spend 90% of my effort guest blogging and only 10% of it putting it on my sites. And I got some sites that are actually pretty good, but I'd rather put it on these other sites because they're bigger, they're more authoritative, they give me a better reach. I can then link back from that site to me. So best way for me to get links is to guest post on their sites and I'm linking to me. I don't even have to build the link or have them link to me. I just go ahead and put the link in there myself. And obviously I'm not, you know, being a parasite about it. I'm being respectful and not just like linking 20 different things at once in the article, right? Like, I'm curious, like what percent of your efforts when you blog are you guest blogging versus putting it on your sites? I'm very much in favor of putting it on other people's websites. That served me really well. I get way more traffic doing that. You guys are SEO experts. What do you do? What percent do you do? William, what do you do? How many links per article? Well, it depends on how long the article is, but generally 3 or 4. And I will link 1 or 2 to a related article on that site to show that I understand the content that's on that site. And then I'll put like a link to my website, maybe a link to my LinkedIn. And when I link to my website, I'll try to link to an article instead of linking to the home page. I find that linking to the home page is not as good as it used to be because I'm not trying to do it for the juice. I'm trying to go for what's actually better for the user on that particular topic I'm talking about. So you probably have 5 or 6 articles on your site that are like your key articles, right? So link to those. Don't just link to your home page. You know what I mean? Because you're more likely to, because if you just link to your site or link to your LinkedIn, that's like a bio link, right? I mean, who's going to want to click on the bio link? You want to link to something that's actually super relevant to the thing you're talking about, right? And I'm not doing it just because I'm trying to get the larger audience. I'm doing it because it's whatever audience is most relevant to that topic. So if I'm writing something about analytics on Facebook, because Facebook keeps changing their analytics, I'm going to put that on Social Media Examiner because that's the place where it actually belongs. So social media people that are looking for analytics, they're going to go over there versus my site. My site contains all kinds of random stuff. Yeah, and to Sean's point, like the stuff I'm showing you guys here is more at the competitive, like very competitive category. If you want to win for some local plumber, oh, there you go. Love the book. Thank you, Sean. If you want, like all it takes, I don't want to name drop, so I won't name drop, but all it takes to win for some random local client is just a couple links, some basic GMB optimization, you know, some basic content on their site. Like that's all it takes to win. It takes so little to win. And then they keep paying you every month, right? It's almost boring, but it's fun. I love doing it for local service business, like home service businesses, garage door, plumbing, carpet repair, flooring, you know, those guys are so easy from an SEO standpoint because you only have to beat the other decorative flooring companies, right? Sean says most small business clients don't need many links, but we share all all the content everywhere using a similar strategy, $1 a day. Yeah, fantastic. Let's see, question from Isaiah. Curious if you think TikTok or short form video content works with this. Yes, it does. If you start with long form content, and Hormozy and these guys teach the same thing, start with the long form content so you can pull out what's working, put the highlights into one little, little 15-second, 1-minute TikToks. Yeah. Okay. Gave you the book in Tampa. Ah, yeah. I have more. If you guys want it, I'll send you electronic copy. Or if you're in the US, I'll mail it to you or whatever. I've got boxes of them. Or you can buy it on Amazon for $14 and leave me a review. And I'll do something nice for you if you do that. All right. I mean, there's more stuff I can show you. So I'm happy to share, but you guys are driving, so it's what you guys want. So you tell me. My time's here for you. Surely you guys have some questions. I know Mr. Sean's got questions. He's thinking. He's got an active mind. I can see the gears turning. Kyle says, absorbing the info and trying to think about how it will apply to me. You want to do some audits? Should we audit some people's personal brands? Those are always fun. Some people are scared of this. OI marketing, is that Kyle? City of Langley, BC. Local SEO expert. Do you link to your guest blogs? Of course I do. And then I run $1 a day against it. Yeah. So let's get Kyle a knowledge panel. So this is Kyle. Second degree connection. I'll hit connect. Can I not connect? I think I'm at 30,000 connections, which is the limit. I got to unfriend some people. So we have 10 mutual connections. Okay. About transformational leader. But if your main thing is local, why isn't there a link there? OI marketing. Okay. Let's go to OI marketing. Where's your link? OI, like OI vey? OI marketing, 15 reviews. Okay. YouTube, 10 followers. Clutch. Okay, fair enough. X. Okay, let's do Kyle Sanker. Actually, before typing that in, is there anything that shows up? There's no entity that shows up. Sanker, no, nothing, no type ahead. Okay. Huh. Well, the good news is there's not a lot of Kyle Sankers, are there? So this is Kyle. Let's go to Bard. Who is Kyle Sanker? A local SEO expert. Trying to help nudge it to what I want to see. How do we know he's a local SEO expert? Doesn't really know. Well, all right, fine, Bard. Go to ChatGPT. Who's Kyle Sanker? By the way, if it doesn't know who you are, that means you haven't done a good job teaching the algorithm who you are, right? So it's not quite sure who you are. I mean, it knows who Dennis Yu is. I'm not trying to boast. I'm just saying, you just feed your stuff into the AI so it knows who you are, okay? Because the more it knows about you, as these AIs get smarter and smarter, the more things it can do for you, right? Okay, so Kyle Sanker. You better bot your name. Oh, you haven't bought your name, my friend. I can go buy it right now. You need to always own your name. So the number one thing to do to get your knowledge panel going is make sure you own your name, because then your name, your kylesanker.com is going to be the entity hub. So all the spokes are like your YouTube and your Twitter and your company website, like all these other entities linked to kylesanker.com as the home. Because you don't have that, Google just shows your LinkedIn as your number one thing, which is great. LinkedIn's there, but you don't control LinkedIn. You want this to be kylesanker.com as number one. Then what else do we have? OI marketing. Okay, so this is on the about. See, on the team thing is where you say Kyle Sanker. This is a common mistake. Very, very common mistake. You can mention Kyle Sanker on the about and on the team, but the information mainly about Kyle Sanker needs to live on kylesanker.com. Craft beer connoisseur, is this you? This looks like you. OI marketing. Where's your articles? Where's your thought leadership? Do you have some webinars and videos? Let's see, what videos? Usually we'll find some of these videos. Okay, let's put quotes around it. Oh, you have a TikTok. All right, Mr. TikTok. You have 2 followers now. OI Marketing CA. Huh. You should have Kyle Sanker as the handle. And then maybe a separate one for the company. But what we like to do is you should set up this. All you guys should set up. So we'll call the access checklist. So you want to have all the entities for your, you can watch my video where I explain, or just come down here and see, like, for your company, you need to have all these things claimed. And you need to have it claimed for you as a person. Personal brand entities, company entities. And click on that link, and you can download this whole thing that shows, you know, here's all the things that you need to do. And it literally is like click by click. It's a pain in the ass. So just have your VA do it. Go through and make sure you claim all your stuff, okay? All this stuff. And then do this for all your clients too. So this access checklist thing, you see where we go like step by step and, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, Dennis.
Just VA do this for you, right?
Dennis,
Yes.
since we are getting closer to the end of our Zoom tonight, I mean, can you please tell us more information where we can get the more information about the Content Factory and also about the $1 a day program?
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll show you. So we're all SEO people, so we can literally, here's my favorite way. Tell me more about Dennis Yu's Content Factory method and the $1 a day program. There, ChatGPT. You know, ChatGPT can answer better than I can, right? Because it knows, it's read all my articles, it's watched all the videos, it's read all my books, it's, you know, tells you about this whole thing. But of course, you can Google it. Shows you what the 4 stages are. I told you what they are, right? It's all here. But we also have blitzmetrics.com/DAD for $1 a day coaching program. So I put all my courses out there for free. If you guys want access to any of it, like, you can see it's all there. You can Google it. Thousands of YouTube videos. We have an academy with all this, and any of you guys, because you're friends of William, I'll give you access to all the courses that are in here, the $1 a day one, personal branding, there's 130 in here, right? And some of them, they show like $10 or $100. I'll just, like, whatever you want. Send a note to Stephanie@blitzmetrics.com and say, hey, I'm in the GMB Pros group with William, and I want the agency course, or I want whatever course. You can just have whatever you want free. But if you want access to me and you want our team to help you, then this $1 a day coaching program is a $2,500 one-time thing where we'll help you implement. And you can see all these people say it's a good thing, right? But all the courses, whatever, are free. And you can go to ChatGPT and it'll answer all your questions. And you can go to, you know, Bard and say, you know, I do, what was it? The roof, window replacement. I do window replacement. companies for my agency. How do I apply? Oops. Dennis, use Content Factory to help my clients for my digital agency, digital marketing agency. Okay. And so you can ask, Claude or Bard or Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever it is. And because it knows the whole thing we teach about the Content Factory and knowledge panels, all the stuff we've talked about today, because it knows, it will say like, here's what you need to do, right? It's not bad, right? I mean, this is like this is okay. You can do better than that. But you see, right? I think knowledge, all the knowledge is out there. It's basically free if you want it. If you want to put the time into it, it's all there. I'm happy to give it out to you. Just send a note to Stephanie@blitzmetrics.com saying whatever you want. You want digital plumbing? Great. Content marketing? You want to hire a VA? I'll give it to you. Some of these are pretty significant. A lot of these have 200-page manuals, step-by-step checklists on how to go through all this stuff. Like digital plumbing is a real doozy because it sets up your tag manager and your GA4 and Search Console and all the tags and the pixels for remarketing, like all the stuff, the conversion tracking, conversion API, all that stuff's in here, right? The reason we build this is not because we're trying to make money off of selling courses. It's because we literally needed to build this training to make sure we're implementing this dang thing properly, right? There's no way we can execute this thing at scale with all the VAs we have. William knows what I'm talking about when you have a lot of VAs. If you don't have a course where people can come through it and do the exercises, pass the quiz, and get the certification, we have no quality control on whether our stuff is actually working or not. And when you have a bunch of VAs that claim they're experts or whatnot, and you don't have the ability, you can't supervise all of them that closely. So you need to have certifications and trainings. And that's why we have all this, not for you, for us. That's why we built all this, right? So we're just giving it away. Hope you like it. Most people don't do anything about it. So too bad, but it's all there.
All right, Dennis, thank you so much for everything. We are almost at the end of our meeting tonight. Thank you so much for everything, guys. Thank you for coming. Please put your last questions if you have, and we're ready to end this meeting.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. And stay safe, Wayne, while you're driving.
Thank you again.
All righty. Appreciate you, everybody. And just reach out if I can help you in any way. Love to see you guys kick some butt. Thanks for